My name is Olushay Ashiru. For those who do not know me, hello Tokbe. Thank you for joining in. For those who don't know me, my name is Olushay and I am the founder of Moms Achieving Purpose Community and also the lead coach at Moms Achieving Purpose Academy. Thank you everyone who's been able to join in this live stream. At Moms Achieving Purpose, what do? We equip mothers with the tools, the resources that they require to discover, embrace, and fulfill their God-given purpose. So if you're a mom and you're watching this, you're welcome to our community. We have some resources like our courses. We have some coaching programs, some trainings that are all focused on helping you, a mom, to become better at this parenting thing and to also discover, embrace, and fulfill God's plans and purpose for your life. I'm a certified coach with the John Maxwell team of global coaches, and I have been coaching mothers, women in general, for the past almost 6 years now. And it's been an amazing journey because I believe that mothers play a significant role in shaping the society. For everything you do to raise your children well, you are amazing. You are doing a great and a fantastic job. So thank you so much for being a part of this broadcast. I see you, Instagram people. I see you live on Facebook. Thank you for joining. So today we're going to be talking about the things that can affect our parenting from our past. How your childhood plays a significant role in how you're parenting your children now. I mean, generally, I don't know if we all remember growing up where you will take your parents' shoes and you just want to try it on. If you're a girl, you probably wanted to try on your mother's shoes, or a boy putting on his father's shoes or a shirt. My daughters are always dressing up in my clothes. I pick up my shoes all over the house because someone just goes into my closet and just puts on the high heels, feeling like a mommy. But it is important that we remember that we were all brought up in some home, in some form or the other. Whatever kind of home you grew up in, it was a home, right? And as a child, you looked up to your parents to model everything for you. They were like your role models, the ones you wanted to be like. So whether consciously or unconsciously, from what you eat to what you wear, to the way you brush your teeth, everything about you has an influence on how you live your life, right? So your parents, how they brought you up, has a great influence on your life. And many of us have come to develop this set of expectations. We use our parents as our yardstick. We use our parents' lives, their choices, the way they live their own life as a blueprint for our own lives as well. So whether or not you believe it, your own children are watching you. They are developing their own ideas from how you are modeling life to them. They watch you. They see how you do things. They see how you react to situations. And they are taking a cue from those things that you are doing. All right? So that is why it's important for us to dig deeper into how we were brought up and see what we can do to improve on some of those things. It's not because we are trying to shame our parents or because we just want to say, oh, they didn't do well. No, that's not the point of this broadcast at all. But it's for us to take a deep dive into how we're brought up, how our childhood was, and see what we can do to make adjustments and make improvements to parent our own children in the right way. Why are we talking about the past? Whether or not you agree with it, the past, if left unaddressed, will continue to haunt us in the present. It will continue to play a significant role in how we see life, how we view life in the present. So maybe you're already seeing it in your own life. You see traces of the past and you're like, I never thought I would ever do that. I never thought I would ever behave this way. That is what happens because it's like a subconscious thing. It's somewhere there, lying low until an event, an occasion triggers you and you're like, oh my God, I never thought I would ever be the one acting this way. It's something that is in you somewhere, right? So what are some of the things that your children could be picking from you? Your outlook to life, right? Some of those things. How do you view life? Your way of thinking, how you react to situations, how you relate to other people. They are watching you, whether you respect other people, how you treat other people including the ones that are closest to you, your family members, your spouse, they're watching you. They want to see how you treat other people. They are watching how you express emotions, how you control yourself. They're watching. They see whether you lose control all the time. They see how your faith is, how you're expressing your faith. Are you judgmental? Are you compassionate? All those things are the things that our children can actually pick up from us. And even though what happened to us in childhood shows up in our parenting, it does not mean that now we are totally doomed to, to this way of life. It doesn't mean that we can't improve on things. It doesn't mean that we have to repeat some of those mistakes. It doesn't mean that we have to do things exactly the way we were raised. We can choose to chart a different path for ourselves. We can choose to go another way if we feel like some of those things were not, it doesn't really, you don't agree with some of those things. You don't like the way they were, and you want to improve on some areas of your life. That is totally doable. You can do that, right? You can do that. And by processing the past, what happened to you, by processing the things that you went through, it will help you to know how to relate well to your own children in the appropriate way. So here are the 7 things that I said I was going to be sharing with you today. Number 1 thing is, do you find yourself imitating the things that happened in your childhood? I mean, some of us have said, never would I speak this way. But sometimes you open your mouth and what comes out? Your mother comes out of your mouth. An expression that maybe your mother used to say to you when you were much younger. Some of those things that you never thought you would say, but you find yourself saying those things. You find yourself acting in those ways and you're like, oh my goodness. For instance, I usually joke with my son, and we just say things like, so when he says, Mommy, how should I do this thing? I just say, you know what you're going to do? You're going to put your head upside down. You're going to turn upside down, put your legs up, and that thing will be done. And I remember that when we were growing up, when you ask your parents, where should I put this thing? They say, put it on my head, and just being sarcastic, right? And you find yourself, and now I just make a joke out of it with my son, right? We just joke around it. And you find yourself saying things that you never thought you would say. You find yourself imitating some of those things that you thought you would never find yourself in that situation. You said, never, this could never be me. I could never speak this way. I could never do things like this. You find yourself doing those things. Some of us found ourselves in situations, sadly, where, parents used extreme physical punishments, and so because of those things, you find yourself maybe always constantly yelling, screaming at your children, constantly hitting them, and all that. We shouldn't justify harmful actions, right? But you find yourself a little, maybe unwilling or unable, not unwilling, but unable to stop yourself. You just say, why am I acting this way? I don't really want to act this way, but it's one of those things. The second thing that happens is that we find ourselves overreacting. You find yourself overreacting to these situations. Things happen, and then you're like, maybe because of the way you were raised, you find yourself overcompensating. Say, I never want to my children to suffer. And so what do? You give them everything they want. You overdo it. You now go to the extreme where you spoil them, overindulge them, because you feel like, I don't want them to suffer like I suffered, right? So that's the extreme where you're overcompensating, you're overreacting to things, or maybe even when in your good intentions, you try to do things differently from the way you were brought up, but you go overboard with it. For example, maybe if your parents were overbearing to you, sometimes you'll be like, I don't want to be overbearing to my children. And so you go to the extreme of being hands off. You never check on your children. You never see what is going on. You never monitor them, discipline them. You never, correct them. You be like, I don't want to be the overbossy mom. And so you overcompensate. That is also a way that you're reacting to the things that happened to you in the past. Another thing that you find yourself doing sometimes, of the 7 ways, we've talked about imitating, we've talked about overreacting, now we're talking about projecting. You find yourself sometimes projecting yourself onto your children. The things that you never thought, that you thought were not right. Maybe when you were growing up, you didn't agree with some of those things. And then you be like, you just find yourself over projecting onto the children. Maybe, for instance, somebody went through a very traumatic childhood, and so you feel like, I was not able to achieve these things in my life. I was not able to achieve this goal. And so because of that, you're doing all you can to ensure that your own child is now carrying on your dream. You wanted to be a doctor, you wanted to be a lawyer, you were not able to accomplish those goals. So you're like, oh, my child must become a doctor. And you keep forcing your child into doing things that they did not want to do. That is you reacting to how you were brought up. Maybe your parents maybe didn't allow you to pursue your dream. It was your dream. You wanted to be a dancer. They said, no, dancing is not, we don't agree with that. And they forced you to do something. So you're like, no, my own children must be dancers. And then you force your daughter or your son or whatever, as the case may be, to do something that you were not able to achieve in your own dream. You expect them to pursue your own interest. You expect them to carry on your own dream. You don't see your child as somebody who is unique and distinct in their own way. You just want to, let them meet that need that you think you were not able to meet growing up. The fourth thing is that you will recreate. You want to recreate your early childhood environment, right? You want to recreate it in your life now. You start to, even though it was not a pleasant situation, you just find yourself that is your default setting in your parenting. You find yourself constantly falling back into that setting as a parent. You keep replicating that negative environment in your home, and you're like, I don't know why I keep doing this. I don't know why I find myself in these situations, but I find myself there. You keep recreating that painful experience in your home. Maybe you grew up in a home where constant verbal abuse, constant physical abuse, and then even though you don't do it consciously, you find yourself replicating that same situation, that same scenario in your own home. Maybe you were rejected as a kid, as a child in your home. You find yourself consciously or unconsciously rejecting your own children. You start exhibiting those same characteristics, those same character traits, those same kind of environment you grew up in. You find yourself recreating it in your home. Another thing that may happen is that you may find yourself not, having trouble opening up, being free with your children, not able to nurture them the way they should be nurtured. You may have trouble accepting love or giving love to your children. You may have built this defensive wall around yourself because of how you grew up. A lot of times, in a bid to be defensive, to defend yourself from the emotional trauma of maybe childhood or the past or some really painful experience you had in the past, in a bid to defend yourself, you find that you are now you are now too defensive. You've built this wall around yourself that is now tough for you to give love or to receive love from your own children because you built that wall around yourself. And that's why it's important for us to, as we are raising our own children, to start to dig deeper into, am I really doing something? Am I triggered by something that happened in my past? Is this defensive wall as a result of something that happened in my past? Do I see myself, doing these things because of what happened in my past? Am I defensive because of this situation? Am I able to give love to my children? Am I able to nurture my children? Am I able to give them what they require, what they need as a parent? Do I fill their emotional tank? Or am I unable to do it because I have suffered some form of emotional trauma and I've built this defensive wall around my heart? Now that I'm an adult, now that I'm parenting my own children, am I allowing those defensive walls to prevent me from living my life the way I should live it? Another thing that happens a lot of times is that oftentimes, like as parents now, something happens in your home and you lose it. You're like, why did I react so strongly? Why am I reacting so strongly to this situation? Maybe your child does a certain thing and you're like, that's how my father used to do. I don't want you to grow up like that. And then you're like, why are you screaming? Like, why do you have to overreact to that situation? Because you find yourself getting triggered. You find yourself getting triggered by those situations, by those circumstances that happened in your past. You start acting out maybe the way your parents acted to you. If you see that trait in your child, or you see that maybe it was not even your parents that did something to you in the past. Maybe somebody else did something to you in the past. And because you see a similar trait in your child, you overreact. You're like, no, because you get triggered by those things. And if we're not conscious, if we're not careful, we find ourselves terrifying our children. We find ourselves, chasing our children away because of our actions. Our children are wondering, why does she get triggered by this little thing? So if you find yourself getting triggered often because of something that you see, a lot of us, maybe some of us went through some abusive situations in the past, in childhood. So something happens in your home, an innocent person walks in and you're like, no. And you overreact because that situation triggered something, a memory in you of something that happened in your past. So if you find yourself often getting triggered by things that should not trigger you, it's a sign that you have not healed from some emotional wounds of the past that are going to definitely affect your parenting, because your children will keep thinking they've done something wrong. That is why you're reacting the way you're reacting. They won't get it. They won't understand that it's you, it's not them. And children sense things that are going on. They'll be like, maybe I did something wrong to mommy. They won't understand why it is happening that way. They won't get it. They won't know what is going on. They're just wondering, why is mommy angry at me? Why is mommy reacting this way? Why is she upset? Right? They will not know that it is not you. It's not them, it's you. You are the one who doesn't know how to control your emotions because you're getting triggered by some painful situation that happened to you in the past. Sometimes, it's not your fault. It could be a smell. It could be a sound. Something just triggers your that emotion within you, and you just act and scream and yell at your children. And you cannot blame them because they don't know how to relate with you. And you're going to keep driving them away if you continue to act in that way. So we're talking about 7 ways your past is affecting your parenting. And the next thing, that was the 6th one, getting triggered, right? The last one I'm going to be sharing with you is listening to that voice that is in your subconscious. A lot of us grew up in environments where we were told not once, not twice, several times over and over again that you are not good enough, you can't do this, you will never amount to anything, you can't handle this. That critical inner voice that keeps telling you you are not good enough, you can't do this. Maybe the voice you heard over and over and over and over again when you were growing up, maybe your parents picked on you a lot, maybe they were very critical, maybe they were perfectionists, they wanted you to do things a certain way. And because of that, you keep thinking, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I can't handle this. And because of that situation, you find that there's always a critical inner voice telling you that you're not good enough. Layers and layers and layers of years and years of being told that you will not amount to anything keeps showing up in your life right now. It starts to tell you you can't do this. You cannot do this. You cannot handle situations. You are useless. You are lazy. All those things start to form a voice in your head right now as a parent. And if you're not careful, you find these critical inner voices keep showing up in your life, and you keep projecting the same things onto your own children. And that is why it's important for us to deal with these things. And I've told you the 7 ways that your past is affecting your parenting. What will you do about them, right? What are you going to do about them? The beautiful thing about it is that there is hope. It's not like as if, because it happened to me and now I'm doomed. This can never change. I can never get better just because, it happened in the past. There's no way. You can get help if you feel like you're really affected by a lot of these things that have happened to you. And one of the things that we address on the intentional parenting course is that we dig deeper into our past, look at how it's affecting our parenting, and then take measures to find ourselves doing something about those things. I'm triggered. I'm projecting onto my children. I'm overreacting to situations around them. What can I do to change these things? We are going to be addressing some of these things on the intentional parenting online course. So for everyone who've never heard about it before, Moms Achieving Purpose Academy, we have a course we are launching in the next month. Enrollment is on now. Intentional parenting course, and that course is a 6-week coaching program that will help you to dig deeper into why you act the way you act, why you parent the way you parent. It will equip you with the tools that are necessary for you to parent your own child based on your personality, based on your child's personality and temperament, help you to develop a blueprint for your own children, for your own family, help teach you the ways that you can parent your own child in the way that they should go. Every family is different. Every child is different. We cannot all do things the same way. We cannot parent one child the same way you parent another child. It is not possible because God created us to be different. God created us to be able to handle situations, in different ways. And when we understand how it works, then it will be easy for us to make those amendments in our own lives, in our own parenting journey. So if you're listening to me now and you know that you need help with your parenting, you know that you need support, you've been a little confused, you don't know what to do, you see some of these things that I've mentioned in your own life displaying in your own life, in your own situations, and you just don't know how to handle them, you can sign up for the course, because right now we have the early bird registration, meaning you're paying less than you would normally pay if you sign up between now and June 1st. And the reason I'm encouraging you to sign on now is because it gives you an opportunity to be able to be equipped with the tools that you need to parent your children well. A lot of us, pay for things that are not even as important as raising our children, right? We invest our time, we invest our resources in other things that are not as important as our children. So if you're listening to me right now, you're watching this, and you know that you need this intentional parenting course because you don't know how to navigate your own affairs for your children, right? You don't know how to handle them. You have some certain things that you know that are still occurring and reoccurring in your life, in your parenting, and you know that you need support through it all. I want you to click the link in bio of Mom Achieving Purpose. If you're on Instagram, you're watching this, check the bio. If you're on YouTube watching this, you will see the link there. Also, if you're watching on Facebook, you will see the link that you can use to join the intentional parenting course. You can sign up for the course, bit.ly/intentional parenting course. If you're on Facebook, you can see the link showing right there. If you're on Instagram, just check the link in bio. It will give you the link that you need to sign up for the course. Like I said earlier, it's early bird time, so you can sign up for less. You save some money when you sign up now before June 1st. All right, everyone, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments, and I'll be able to tackle them before I go. So please drop your comments for me, drop your comments, drop your questions, and then I can tackle them before I log out of the live stream. All right, I'm expecting your questions. Please drop them for me, and I'll answer them.